through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it loud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn, he's rewriting the rules.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and thank you guys so much for joining Tino and I this evening. I hope everyone's having an amazing Trump day, and otherwise an amazing week above and beyond that. And so how is everyone doing? We're going to start with hellos, and then we're going to jump in to the news, and of course, we're going to be answering questions this evening. And so how is everyone doing? Oh man, everybody is having fun today. What's up, Kukla? Happy Trump Day to you as well, Kukla. Oh, and Mile High Trisha, happy Trump Day to you also. Thank you so much, guys. Copper Sundown, good evening, Zester. Hope you're having a good week. I am having a pretty good week, Copper. A busy one, but a good one. I hope you are having the same. Oh, Copper Sundown says, hey guys, it's great to be here. Your mods are awesome. They are indeed. They are indeed. Kukla and Trish are the bomb. Grumpy when he comes to help. Everybody is so awesome. It is so much appreciated. Welcome, Crazy Chester. How are you doing? Crazy Chester says, welcome to Zester Mods and the fellow Cryptonauts. No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, though. Tino is, now that I started talking, Tino is planning on heading off to go get into some mischief while I am distracted. And so I don't know if we'll get him back anytime soon, but I have a feeling he's off and running. He is indeed. We'll see him again soon. What's up, Mary Jones? How are you doing? Mary Jones, has anyone heard from Gary 7? I haven't seen him in over a month. I have heard that he's very busy with a book, and that he's concentrating on that. But I would have to agree, guys. I miss Gary 7. I miss his jokes. I never, ever, and usually I can predict the joke or I can expect what's going to occur. But with Gary, I never can. And so I'm definitely looking forward to having him back. And when he does get done with that book, I would really, really love to be on the short list of getting to read it right off the bat. What's up, Deborah? Welcome. Hey, Mary Jones dancing along. David, good afternoon to you as well, David. And thank you so much for the Apple Man. Much appreciated. What's up, Linda? And Gary M. What is up, Flatline Racer? Howdy, all of y'all. And what's up, Bear? How are you doing this evening? How are things going in North Kakalaka? Howdy there, Rexy. All right, though, guys. I'm not going to try not to miss saying hello to anybody, but we're going to try to get into the news fairly quickly because we do have some particularly interesting news. Things have been changing in terms of the markets, a lot of it based off of apparent tariff news, or that's the excuse that the crypto market is using. And so we're going to jump into that one. But first things first, the most important thing, I've got to make certain that I cover this. Please do remember that the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide financial, medical, legal, any other type of professional advice. Please consult with a professional before making any decisions about your any different degree of future. Thank you, Kukla, so much for making certain that I cover that one. It is very, very important in order to keep our alphabet overlords satiated. Um, they need to hear that. And so thank you so much, Kukla, for making certain I get it. Craig Davidson, happy St. George's Day from over the pond. I would have to 100% admit, I do not know St. George's Day. And so if anybody out there, or Craig yourself, if you'd like to educate me, I'd be very, very happy to learn about it. But what's up, Craig? And very, very happy to have you joining us from across the pond. Oh, howdy there, GG. Kukla, hot crypto news. I don't know if it's hot news, but it's new news. It is very exciting news. Essentially, it is very exciting news. But I am someone who is so focused on understanding something where what I'm really looking forward to in terms of the market is a little bit more clarification. I want the rules. I want the new norm. I want the new cycle. But that's just what I want. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. And it doesn't seem like that new norm is going to become the new norm anytime soon. And so we've got a lot of very, very interesting crypto news, but I will go ahead and preface it by saying we've not gotten any overall clarification about what the logic is that is currently influencing the crypto market, besides just being reinforced once again that logic is not currently in the building. And so we'll get into that one in 1 second, Kukla. It is exciting. It is hot news, but I would have to say I'd rather have a little bit more clarification about exactly where we're going, as opposed to just getting more good news that essentially is acting the same way as the good and bad news did for the past 8 years. I'm ready for that day when the system changes. But yeah, we're going to jump into it quickly. And I think folks are going to be somewhat excited about the new information. Lori Harris, hey there, Zester. Glad to be here with you all. Anxious to find out what is going on with the crypto market. As a newbie, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Lori, that is absolutely true. And you do need to be wary of the idea of overthinking essentially what you're doing. Now, that does not mean that you should not think through your decisions to an extreme degree. But in this modern world, whether it's financial or anything else, we are being driven by essentially an online and automated overlord. And it's very important to keep in mind, Lori, that cryptocurrency is not difficult. It really isn't. It is different. It is new and it is unique. And that means there's a learning curve that comes along with it. And so, Lori, please just keep in mind that the best way to go about learning something brand new is usually to take baby steps. And so if you do that, Lori, I don't think you're going to end up having too much to worry about throughout the process. But thank you so much for joining us, Lori. And I promise we will help out. Howdy there, LG lady. Welcome, welcome. Patricia, thank you so much for joining. In 91 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. What is it like in this time of the year in Phoenix, Arizona at night? I'm very curious about that because everybody always has like that generalized myth in terms of deserts where it's particularly cold in the evenings. So, Patricia, I'm curious. What is your evening looking like James, hey Zester, I was able to get XRP purchased from Coinbase. Now, do I buy the Ledger wallet and will Coinbase transfer the XRP to that Ledger wallet? Yes, James, it will. And so once you actually have made that purchase on any centralized exchange, remember when I use that term, I mean Coinbase. I mean Binance. I mean Gemini. I mean crypto.com. I mean Uphold. I mean Lobster. When I use the term centralized exchange, they're all the same. From a technology standpoint and what they genuinely provide, they're all the same. And so, James, with you having your XRP purchased on Coinbase, all you need is a wallet to withdraw it to, and you're good to go. And so, James, please keep in mind, as I always recommend, don't worry about the Ledger hardware wallet until it's a substantial amount of crypto. I only recommend that because, you don't buy a $1,000 wallet if you only have $20 to carry around. It's the same logic here. And so once you've hit that point, James, which it sounds like from your comment that you probably are at that point where you want to make certain that it's safe already, you want to secure it, you're good to go. All you need is that hardware wallet to transfer it to. So yeah, no, James, I'm very, very excited to hear that. You've got your XRP purchase. I know we had talked about that one, I think, on Saturday. And so I'm very, very glad to hear that you've got it. You are going to have, James, depending upon how recently you made that purchase of XRP or how recently you deposited USD or fiat money into Coinbase, you may still have to keep your XRP on the exchange for a couple of days. The reason exchanges do this is not because of anything crypto related, it's banking related. And so, James, there's one thing you have to keep in mind is that whenever you send money to Coinbase or any of the other ones and you make a purchase of crypto, you may not be able to withdraw your crypto immediately. The reason is because they're worried that you're going to go and you're going to contest the bank statement. They're worried that you're going to argue that you did not actually send the money to Coinbase or to a crypto company of any kind. And so they hold your crypto for a couple of days, depending upon how recently you made the purchase or how recently you send US dollars to the exchange. And so that is the only caveat to keep in mind, James. Otherwise, you're good to go. You're ready to go. I'm really excited for you because you're going to have your crypto safe very, very soon. And so you're on the perfect path, my friend, the perfect path. Nature Girl, what the? I just checked my XRP up 537% and XLM up 672%, Doge down 99%. But my balance doesn't reflect the increases or decreases. What's happening? Nature Girl, your portfolio manager or wherever you are looking at the value of your portfolio, they are having an issue getting data. I promise you, Nature Girl, XRP is not up 537%, nor XLM, nor is Doge down 99%. What's happening, Nature Girl, is that where you're viewing your prices, either you're having an issue refreshing the page, which I doubt, or the information being provided from their data providers, these are called API feeds, are not working. And this is something that's fairly common, not only in the crypto space, but also outside of it. And so, Nature Girl, Unfortunately, bad news is we're not all up 500%. Good news is we're not all down 99%. We're actually currently gaining dollars on the vast majority of the different cryptos we typically talk about. So, Nature Girl, that's a it's very disconcerting when you see it happen, but I promise you it is nothing more than a technology error. I would be curious to ask Nature Girl, who are you viewing that information through? Which service are you viewing that information through? Craig Davidson, James, well done. It's really simple to transfer from Coinbase to Ledger Wallet. Just make sure, absolutely sure, you buy one from the original manufacturers and not from Amazon. Absolutely, Craig. That is the perfect degree of advice on that side. All you need to do is ensure that you buy your Ledger or your hardware wallet, whichever brand you purchase it from. Make certain that you buy it directly from the manufacturer or from a very reputable source. And then you're good to go. Keep in mind also, you can save some money with the link in the link tree if you are buying a Ledger, but all I care about is that you keep your crypto on a hardware wallet. I'm not all that worried about which brand you choose to keep it on, just that it is being kept on one. George Yukovich, Zester, some days you must just jump out of the airplane with a parachute or with an instructor with a parachute strapped to your backside. Sometimes I do. Lori Harris, I've learned so much from listening to you, Zester. Thanks for all you do to help us learn. Lori, thank you so much for being here. And I'm happy that I can help. I really am. It definitely makes it all worthwhile. I just like to know that I'm keeping as many people safe in the crypto world as I possibly can. I cannot save everybody. It's not even, I wish I could, but I can't. But thank you so much, Lori. That is much appreciated. All right. Original Mark Z. What are you doing around here? Nice hat. How are you doing, Pops? How are you doing? Oh, Kukla, he has one. He has one. I've never worn hats for the longest time. And so I'm kind of enjoying wearing a hat every once in a while now. That's a booger move. Lurking. James, where do we buy one like you have, Zester? And actually, that would be in the description over there on Freedom Forge Coffee. The link is down there in the description. And there'll be a merchandise option to actually go through and be able to get any and all of the different merchandise from Freedom Forged. Yeah, no, I don't think that guy is all perfect. No, glad that you got rid of him there, Kukla. Hey, Consulta Global Broker, you look cute, even younger with a hat. Oh, thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and turn down the brightness so no one can see me blushing. But all right, let's jump towards our news for the day. All right. Markets are particularly happy at the moment. And so as we look through this, we see Bitcoin sitting at 93,000, Ethereum a little under 1,800, XRP sitting at $2.22. Actually, we got a little bit higher throughout the day, 227. I think was probably our high, or 228 it claims occurred at some point in time throughout the trading day. And a very similar story going on throughout the entire market. Big question being, well, why? Why? And of course, immediate jump to it is going to be based around the tariff discussion. And so, what the vast majority of analysts are pointing towards in terms of the general price increase of cryptocurrency over the past 24 hours, and stock markets rise as Trump backtracks on high China tariffs and the firing of the Fed chair. Of course, this article is coming from The Guardian, not exactly the most Trump-friendly outlet out there, and actually a particularly unfriendly Trump outlet, but the narrative that they're portraying is the same narrative that's being portrayed across all of the major news outlets. Essentially, where everyone is pointing towards is that the tariffs being pulled back is extremely good news for crypto and stocks. I would personally disagree about that being particularly good news, but I'm not going to argue, and I'm definitely not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. When it comes down to it, prices are increasing. I'm not going to argue with it, but that is the reason, as I discussed earlier, that we continue to be outside of the world of logical market changes. The market is illogical at the moment, and it does not appear to be changing in that regard. We're seeing the same general rhetoric. We're seeing the same good or bad news, depending upon how you choose to look at it. And in all honesty, we're not seeing any substantial change. As I said on our Saturday stream, there is no bad news. Crypto continues to be sitting inside of what I would view as the perfect storm for massive, massive price increases, for massive amounts of adoption. We continue to sit there, and yet right now, well, we don't really have that much to point towards, unfortunately. And so I think that we're still in the learning period. And essentially, when markets are changing to this degree, and we look back in history to when markets have changed to this degree, we're not in for a short journey. We're in for a long haul. And the day essentially that things do shift over is probably not going to be predicted by anything less than a 1 in a million type chance. And so that is where we see current blame being associated with, or well, current praise, I suppose you could say today, in regards picks me back up. All right, looks like I'm all back here. But when we do look over the 24-hour chart, we can see essentially the turning point in regards to the market based around the tariff discussion, which does add up to the exact time in which the announcement was made. It does lend some credence towards the general idea that the markets, whether it is considered logical, are still remaining extremely worried about the tariff conversation. Am I back now? Kukla says, you froze, Zester, but you're back. Everything on my side is saying I'm good to go, and so I'm going to hope that that's the case and continue on forward. And so, yes, we see a direct correlation here in regards to the price changes in terms of cryptocurrency with the announcements made by Trump. We seem to be very, very, very much being directly influenced by essentially anything Trump says. Trump says crypto good, the price of crypto goes up. Trump says crypto nothing, as in he just does not comment on crypto, crypto goes down. I have a feeling that what we really need to do is we just need to go ahead and build a little computer program that buys any crypto whenever Trump makes a statement about cryptocurrency, because it seems like every time he mentions it, we tend to see a price increase. It seems to be the same general thought process around tariffs. If Trump intends to increase or impose higher tariffs on any country, for some reason, the cryptocurrency market tanks. Is that logical? No. Does it make any sense? No, it doesn't make any sense. It's not directly correlated. It has no effect on the market. It has zero effect on the general price of cryptocurrency. It doesn't change anything about it. From a fundamental standpoint, nothing changes. And yet we continue to be in this current little short cycle or microcycle of watching every time we hear tariffs are going up, we see the crypto market go down, we see stock markets also following the exact same logic. Stock markets make a little bit more sense. They are more directly connected and more directly influenced. They have far more exposure to the global stock market in regards to how they operate, far more effect in terms of the tariffs on how these corporations operate. It makes a lot of sense for the stock market to be directly affected by these tariff decisions, whether positive or negative. It makes zero sense for cryptocurrency to be affected by them. We're not affected by those cross-border issues. We're not affected by those countryside issues. We are affected by the legal issues that have all been dropped by the United States government, which should have indicated a massive, massive boon to the general market. As we have discussed previously, that's not how it's working out right now. Logic is not currently in the building. If anybody finds logic, please redirect them back to reality. But until someone finds wherever logic is currently hiding out at, remember, we are in uncharted waters. This is not something that anyone can look back and say, hey, it's directly connected to this. Unfortunately, we're not in that situation. We are in new lands. We are experiencing an entirely new world of global finance, and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology has an extremely important role to play in that. And we're still having to figure out exactly how that process is going to end up working out. So please remember that part as we go through this. Gary M. Zester, can you help me retrieve an NFT from my Coinami wallet, even though the NFT function is no longer an option? Gary M., I am not certain if I can or cannot. I will look into it and I will see what the options are there. There are some back-end ways to interact with smart contracts that may be possible. And so I would say, Gary, you may be able, if this is an issue that's already out there and other people are experiencing it, you may be able to search specifically for NFTs stuck on Coinami, manual transfer option solution. You may find some Reddit articles, or you may find some other people that are in the same situation. But otherwise, Gary, I'm going to have to look into it. There are ways to manually remove things that are not being portrayed on your screen in terms of your wallet, but it really, really, really comes down to a lot of nuance. And so, Gary, first question, how valuable is that NFT? That would probably be one of my first, right off the bat. I'd be like, what are we trying to save here? If it's $1,000 NFT, well, then I get it. I understand why you're trying to get it off of Coinami. Absolutely. All right, here's an interesting article, though, for everybody. Trump Media has inked the deal with Crypto.com for Made in America ETFs. Trump Media and Technology Group has inked an agreement with Crypto.com to launch ETFs tracking cryptos and securities with a Made in America focus. Now, this would go right back to all of that great news that we keep getting all the time, and yet the market doesn't seem to react based off of it. But Trump Media, please remember though that Trump Media is the company that operates Truth Social. And so whenever you're on Truth Social, Trump Media is the conglomerate corporation that owns and operates a variety of different Trump related enterprises. Trump Media, which operates social media site Truth Social, said on April 22nd that it had signed a binding agreement with Crypto.com and asset manager Yorkville America Digital to launch ETFs, which are expected to comprise digital assets as well as securities with a Made in America focus spanning diverse industries such as energy. I felt like the bare minimum statement here of ETFs, I mean, that's great news. That's expected news. The interesting portion here is digital assets as well as securities, and then diverse industries such as energy. The reason that that is so interesting to me is because of the fact of exactly what we discussed on Saturday and what we've discussed in the past. Effectively, the vast majority of the stock market and of most securities most likely will be being digitized or being placed on the blockchain, tokenized in the near future. It appears as if Trump Media is working with Crypto.com to position themselves for that future. A future where your Apple stock is tokenized, a future where essentially anything and everything in regards to a security or an investment is tokenized and on a blockchain, which is coming. It is what is happening. There are extreme amounts of leverage being placed on financial institutions to tokenize essentially everything they provide, both from a efficiency standpoint, but also from an overall accountability standpoint. All right, let's jump to our next one because we do have more that I consider to be particularly interesting. This one, I believe, for many folks in the community is probably the most intriguing news of the day, and also the piece of news that presents me with the most, well, the different possibilities. There's so many different ways to look at this one and what the Trump family is positioning themselves for, that this does kind of lead me towards a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theories or unsubstantiated thoughts where I am considering, well, where are they planning on going with this? Especially with Trump being in the White House. The fact that they're being so aggressive is an indication of some larger changes that are going to occur to the markets. All right, though. This one. El Salvador has proposed a cross-border crypto sandbox to the SEC. And so, what El Salvador has essentially proposed is that we would go in and we would work with El Salvador to create a universal, a global regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. And in the same way that El Salvador has offered its prison system to the United States in regards to our immigration and our border problems, it appears as if Bukele over there in El Salvador would like to also work with the United States government towards establishing a global crypto regulatory framework. Where this goes, well, nobody knows. It's a new proposal. But I find this to be particularly interesting. As we know already, El Salvador led kind of the vanguard, as you could say, in terms of cryptocurrency adoption and really taking a hardline approach to forcing vendors around the country to accept this evolution. Now they have backtracked in certain regards, but in all honesty, they have maintained their forward-thinking mindset in terms of growing general crypto adoption around El Salvador, and they would like to work with the United States in order to create a system that could be adopted outside of just our country. And so I find that one to be particularly interesting, as apparently Tina also thinks it's particularly interesting, as she has decided now is the time to come show up. And so we got both kitty cats this evening in terms of the Tina routine. I don't know where Tommy's at the moment, but he'll have to come hang out. I also would say we have a very, very, very funny opportunity coming up on Whiskey and Wisdom this evening over on the original Mark Z, as one of the kitty cats will be wearing a lion costume this evening for Whiskey and Wisdom, just so everybody can check out just how particularly cute they happen to be when they're wearing one. And yes, Nature Girl, they are. The only thing that they ever do is that they tend to not be relaxed somewhere around 3 a.m. But otherwise, no. My kitty cats stay particularly relaxed. I try to keep a very calm and tranquil home. I try. And the kitty cats seem to appreciate it. But all right, guys. We've gone through our news for the day. I do have one more article. And so we have a little bit more time for anybody that wants to toss a question out there. I'm going to cover this last article and answer any questions. And so for our last one, and the reason that I have this one up here is because so many people ask me about the Pi network, Pi blockchain. People have been mining Pi on their cell phones for a very, very long time. And I've met quite a few people that are curious about whether it's ever going to go anywhere, whether it's ever going to essentially equate to any value. And what I can say is, well, Pi Network is currently valued at somewhere around $4.5 billion of market capitalization. And the executives have now become billionaires, at least billionaires on paper. And so Pi Network is a very, very interesting system, a very interesting idea that allows you to mine from your cell phone. What we're seeing is that it doesn't seem to be getting adopted, and that's a bad sign. Adoption is extremely important in terms of these cryptocurrencies and them actually being used. It's fundamental value. It's people using them for their intended purpose. And Pi Network has not seen a lot of that. And yet, Pi Network continues to see a particularly healthy ecosystem. Low 24-hour volumes, low volume trading, but a fairly healthy ecosystem. And so I thought that last little article would be interesting to some folks out there, because I know many, many people in the community, especially years ago, have been farming their Pi off of their phone and checking in daily. I would say current market seems to be very happy. And so for those that may have a Pi wallet out there somewhere, it would be a pretty good time to actually check it out and maybe start to make some decisions about what you want to do with it. And so All right, guys. With that one covered, let's go ahead and jump towards our last questions. And then I'm going to go get myself ready for Whiskey and Wisdom and also start getting the kitty cats ready for all of their costumes because they're coming in costumes this evening to Whiskey and Wisdom. Because, well, my mom sent me costumes for the kitty cats because she watches the streams and watches all the things, and she thought everybody would particularly enjoy them. And so the kitty cat's got some Easter presents that we're going to show off this evening. All right. Hey, Craig Davidson, Zester, have you got a moment to talk about Quant and H-bar, please? Craig, I would say on Quant and H-bar that I have far more knowledge about Hedera than I do Quant. Quant is one that I have maintained I keep up with it primarily because the community has a particular interest in the project. Hedera Hashgraph, I would say, Craig, just because I know more about it. I am a Hedera Hashgraph. I'm an H-bar holder. I think that they've taken more of a technology mindset to solving the problem, and they have been far more proactive with providing their information and updates than the vast majority of other companies in the space have. And so, Craig, unfortunately, I cannot jump in and immediately do a deep dive on the technology they're providing. What I can say is that from H-bar standpoint, I'm particularly happy with their focus on the technology and not on the glitz and glamour. Quant, I would have to say that I would be better off doing more research before I make any statements on Quant in, specifically. Correct. I have researched Quant before, just because folks in the community have been interested, but I've not been keeping up with them recently. And so Hedera, very excited about their recent updates, very excited about where they're going. I do need to do a little bit more on Quant side, though, before I can speak to it. But don't worry, Craig. Now that you've made that comment, I'm going to be jumping on it. I'm probably going to be fully up to date on Quant come 8 p.m. Eastern Standard over there on Whiskey and Wisdom on the original Mark Z. But all right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Looking forward to hanging out with everyone in about about an hour and 15 minutes, give or take a minute or two. And so love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you soon. Remember, if you don't see me over on Whiskey and Wisdom, I will be back here on Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Thank you, guys.